You're black.
Are you colorblind?
I'm white. You're black.
Are you colorblind?
I'm not colorblind.
Do you know what black is? This
I know
microphone
what
is black. This phone is black. Does it look like me?
But we call people from Africa black people.
Are you white?
But that's how the world sees us, right? You are black. I'm white.
You are not white. I'm not black.
I'm not white and you're not black, but everybody, the whole world knows that if I call a person black, they know what I mean.
Then the word is colorblind.
Have you ever heard something that makes you pause and go, wait, what? Well, that's exactly what's happening online with these debates about whether Africans are actually black. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, kindly consider subscribing to get more of our trending stories. Now, guys, some people are saying that African identity goes beyond just being black, while others, especially some Somalis, are making it clear that they don't identify as black at all. So what's really going on here? Let's check out these videos, then I'll be back and we can break it all down.
I don't care if I'm the first person to say this, but us Somalis are not black. There's a difference between African and black. Let me ask you a question. Are Moroccans and Egyptians black? Tradition, our history, our culture are so much more different compared to these other countries that are actually black. Joshua Bill, if you're not black, what are you? I'm Somali. Let me ask you a question. If you were to see a very dark Indian man, would he be identified as a black person or just an Indian?
You are an African. You are not black. You are an African. For quite some time, I've been learning and following up discussions of whether I should identify as a black man or as an African man, because I've come to understand that these are two different things. They are not the same thing. They don't mean the same thing. Yes, and so I've been learning for quite some time, but now I think I have some comments to share about this, and this is concerning me as well, because I am an African man, and maybe sometimes maybe I might have wanted to also identify as a black man until when I learned that does not mean the same thing. So where can I start? Maybe I would like to start by giving a very brief story, which you probably know already. So we all know that those people who are living in the United States with a dark skin, as much as myself, they were shipped as slaves to the United States. And for all I know from the movies and history that we're being told is that when they arrived to the United States, of course, they were all slaves, but they had to be identified so that someone would know clearly through the description that this is not the white American that used to stay here before the slaves came. That's why they were all called Negroes or niggers. And this is another reason why you as an African, you should never take pride in using the word nigger, because nigger, it used to identify a slave with a dark skin that was shipped from Africa. So it's not something you should feel proud of. When it comes to Africans, then we understand you cannot identify as a black man because you are not within the context of the United States. You are not within the boundary to be identified as a black. So now black is a culture. It's not an identity related to the dark skin. Do you understand what I'm saying? So black now is the culture, and this is the culture within the United States of America. And of course, we all understand that, one thing which had spread this culture throughout the world is the music. They have really producing very good music. Myself, I've been a fan of American music for a very long time. I've been a fan of American music. And so it's easy to impart a culture to other societies through music. And this is what has happened. Yeah, but we have reached to the point where now people identify with the culture that came with the music. Yeah, but as people from Africa, we are Africans. We are not black men. We are not black women. We are not black people. We are Africans, and we should identify. But
are East Africans black? Short answer, yes.
So, are East Africans black? Short answer, no. See, I've given some detail in my previous video, and some of you seem to be confused about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump it down for you lot. Now, when people talk about East Africa, they are usually referring to the Horn of Africa. I know, it's a bit silly, but hey, let's go with the flow. So, Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, Somalia, Djibouti, and Sudan. This is what they're talking about usually, Northeastern African regions. But we all know East Africa is actually more than that. There is Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Uganda, so on and so forth, many other countries. But then who is black in these particular regions? A long time ago, a bunch of white people came to the continent of Africa. They took a bunch of African descents from Central Africa, West Africa, and other parts of Africa. They called these people Negroids when they were taken to the Western world. These Negroids were eventually protested against the term Negroid or nigger, and eventually what happened was the white people was like, okay, cool, we're gonna call you colored people then, since you're feisty about the word nigger, so we're gonna call you what? Colored people. Around the 18th century, a bunch of colored people from Asia came into the Americas and into the Western world. Now the white man was like, man, this is too confusing. So, you know what? We're gonna call these Asians colored people. We're gonna call the slave descendants black people. So, in my argument, anybody who is related to the people who were taken from Africa, i.e., the slave descendants, right? Anyone who's related to those people in the continent of Africa, genetically, linguistically, or any people, anybody, any single person who has some ties to those people, genetically, linguistically, phenotypically, can claim black.
I don't think Africans should be calling themselves black. We have the most genetic diversity in the African continent, and we're reducing it to a skin color. That's a mockery of us as an African peoples. I would rather us call each other with our tribes, actually, than with our skin color. Like, it just bases us all to one level when there's so much to learn from us. Our history, our traditions, our spiritualities have been lost because of this. And I know it has a lot to do with American influence, but that is not our story, especially for the Africans who we've been here all our life. Yes, we can empathize because we've all gone through some form of colonization, slavery, being segregated. But especially as a Kenyan woman, I think we should focus on us. I think we should focus on not integration yet with a larger society, but integration with ourselves, understanding of ourselves and our culture. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about the whole situation. In some videos, some Africans are saying they don't identify as black, but rather as African. And their point is that the term black was something created during slavery to separate enslaved Africans from white people in the West. And they say that is not their history, so they don't see themselves as black. Well, I get why some people feel that way. The word Negro was used back then, and over time it became outdated because of its ties to racism. Now, a lot of people have embraced black as a source of pride, but some Africans don't connect with that. And to them, identity is more about their culture, ethnicity, and being African rather than a racial category. But here's the thing, race isn't the same everywhere. In the US, blackness is a racial and cultural identity, shaped by history and the fight for equality. While in Africa, it's a bit different. People often identify more with their ethnic groups or nationality than just being black. So I get both sides of the argument. Now, what do you think? Is being African separate from being black? Or does blackness mean something bigger than just a racial label? Let's talk about it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more discussions like this. See you in the next one. Bye.